Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi on the 10th of April, 2019. Yes, it's the old Vobie here. Hello, nice to see you. Hope you're all well and doing good things. Nice to be back. Doesn't a week go quickly, ladies and gentlemen? Doesn't a week go really rapidly? I don't know where it's gone. It just seems to have been here 1 minute and then gone the next. I don't know how they do it. These days, they just peel off. I still need to get a new calendar because I don't seem to have a calendar. But there we are. What can you do? Maybe somebody will send me in a beautiful calendar that we can stick on the wall behind me somewhere, which would be very nice, although we're halfway through the year. I need to produce another Vobes calendar. The last person who did that was very lovely Ed Warren, who sent in a calendar, which he did, which was now run out. But we are in April 2019, and it's very nice to be here. It's the 10th. It's the 10th, ladies and gentlemen. The 10th. Oh, yeah, it's the 10th. Let's have a look and see who has just joined us, which is very nice. Thank you very much for doing that if you have. Nigel Sadler is out there. Anne Osborne and Judith Oakley, the lovely Julia, of course. Richard Suggett, who I was speaking to on the phone only a few moments ago. Talk to you about that shortly. Paul and Suzanne Watts are there. John Berger from the US of A. Lovely to see you. Richard Suggett at the end with Neil Gardner. Hello, Neil. And the prodigal son returns, says John Berg. You're very kind. Oh, you're so kind. That's right. That's right, sir. Who said that? Was that Eric? That's right. Oh, it's Eric down there in the old basement. Oh, how it was. Now, I don't know if anybody listened to the Vobe show that I put out, the old podcast that I put out. I put that out in the Board Explorer group and on my timeline, and I put it out onto the Patrons of Vobes website as well, on the email list. I don't know if you get that. If you're one of those lucky people who are a patron to the old Vobie, you would have got that, hopefully. And I don't know if you listened to it. That was from 2010, ladies and gentlemen. 2010! It's absolutely outrageous. I was thinking, I haven't listened to those for such a long time, such a long time, and I was thinking, you know, it would be nice to bring the old radio show, the Vobe, the audio Vobe show back again, because you could do so much more. You can have sound and music coming in and these sound effects, and you can create this mythological world, which was very exciting and full of energy, full of excitement. I did that every day, ladies and gentlemen, every single day. Can you believe it? I had my headphones. I had these same headphones here. And I used to go, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice to see you, don't you know? Oh, it's the old Vobie. Hello, what are you up to today? Oh! And I used to bellow along like that. I don't do that sort of thing anymore now. Very serious man, as you may have noticed. Let's have a look at some of the comments as they're coming in. Andy Joy, hello. Hello, chums, says Andy Dalglish. Lovely to see you. Hello, says Judith Oakley. Lynn Lou, hello, evening Vobe. Evening Lynn, how's it going? Yeah, someone send him a calendar to ignore. Oh yeah, thanks Julia. Someone send him a calendar to ignore. I know I usually forget. Bung it in there and I completely forget about it, but there we are. Kevin says, I will. What we want is someone who's feeling generous to go through some pictures of the Vobes and stick a nice calendar with a picture of the Vobes in different positions throughout the year. A bit like the one we had last time. Here's the one we had last time. So there's a picture of me there. Look at that. This is what I want. One of the, because I'm vain, you see. There's another lovely, handsome-looking devil there. There's another picture of the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi there. You get the idea? I think you can do this at... this was Funky Pigeon, by the way, that did this. There's one at the end. Hang on a minute. There's me and Mr. Snow. It'd be good if there were ones with members of the group in. There's the lovely Julia and Ed Warren on that one, you see. Anyway, you got the basic idea. That sort of thing be lovely. Somebody who could... Funky Pigeon. There we are. I don't know how much it costs, but it would be great fun to have one of those. Thank you very much. Richard says, hello. What's going on here? A reference to something I shall talk about in a second. Don't get me going on that one. Kevin says, nature as you see it. Calendar will be on its way tomorrow. That's no good. Nature as you see it. No. We want the Vobes. We want up there with some staggeringly funny pictures I don't know where you'd get those from. Mark Selwood has come along. Hello, Mark. Cushty Phil, which is lovely. The lovely Henry David is there. Nice to see you. Dean Cooper. Oh, Dean. You're not wearing your Halloween outfit today, are you, Dean? That's good. Helen Neal. Oh, no, lovely Julia. No, lovely Julia's poorly, Helen. She's poorly. I was hoping that she was going to be here, sitting by my side on the show, making the audience feel very happy and delightful, because she's such a wonderful lady. We all love her dearly. But unfortunately, she's feeling very poorly at the moment, so it's a bit of a shame. Maybe we should all club together and get her something, a nice present, some flowers or some medicine or something. Old Codger's cod liver oil, I think, is quite good. Yeah, no, she's very poorly, and not only that, she's hurt her finger and she's pregnant. It's like, you know, triple whammy. It's triple whammy. And to make matters worse, she was telling me today that her baby is inside, having a go with the old fisticuffs and the feet, giving it a bit of a kick and a bit of an elbow. So she's being beaten blue, Helen. It's such a shame. Your lovely daughter and all. So I feel very sad about that. But I popped in to see her because I have this paternal thing, you see, with the lovely Julia. Now that she's pregnant, you know, there's a sort of paternal thing to make sure that she's okay, because very soon she'll be having a sprog, and there'll be... In fact, I think she should call... She told me that the little baby is a boy, which is amazing news, because I think she should call him Eric, and we could have him on the show going, "Hello, Richard. How's it doing?" I'm doing very well, Eric. How are you? "Oh, it's lovely being born, you know. Oh, I'm like born again." What, a Christian? No, like born again to the show. That's right, sir. Give him a lisp, a bit of an echo. He could be... My phone is ringing. My phone is ringing in the other room. I can't answer it. What am I supposed to do? I assume you can hear me. I don't know whether the... I can't answer the phone. No, it's ringing in the other room. I don't know. Might be the police, you see. Might be the police. They may be ringing me up. I shall tell you about them. They may knock on the door, ladies and gentlemen, at any moment during the show. And I thought, if they do knock on the door, they'll have to come in, because I'm in the middle of a show. I mean, excuse me, Mr. Vobes, is that your car parked outside? Yes. Well, I'm sorry, we've got to come and talk to you. I'm going to tell you about that in the show in a moment. I shall get cracking on that. So that's a bit of a shame. Julia is just replied to her mum and said, "No, Mum, I'm still poorly. I'm so ill. I can't do it. I can't." But not to worry. Helen, are you watching on your massive, great big television? Am I booming into your house? Am I doing that? You poor thing, you poor thing. I expect you'll be getting headaches and needing aspirins and paracetamol and some codeine and all of that. Nikki Jess is there, the... Dean Cooper, Steve Pilfold, he says, "I like radio as a medium." I love radio. I think it's a much more creative in many ways. Here I can pontificate, throw my arms around and make myself into an absolute prune. But on the audio side of things, we can go into a whole world, a different world of automatic stuff. Henry David says, "Ed Warren, he's an American paranormal investigator who's dead. Is that the ghost of him?" There's a different Ed Warren. Ed Warren is a member of the group. I haven't seen a lot of him. He's got his own group now and he does a lot of walks, but he's still a patron and he's very patriotic to the group. He loves the old Vobes, and he says at the moment he's just taking a back seat. I did speak to him not so long ago, and he says he dips in and out at the moment, but he will be back to be more involved. He really will. We had a lovely time last year in Petworth. Such fun. He was a lovely bloke. I like him immensely. Nigel Sadler says, "I'll make him a new calendar when I'm back from work next week." That would be marvellous. That would be lovely. Thank you so much. Lynn Lou says, "Get well to the lovely Julia." Kevin Hall says, "OK, I'll keep it in my office. Sodger." No, I don't mean that. We love a bit of nature, but it'd be nice if it was relevant to the show. That's all I'm saying. My tortoise is called Eric. Yes, then we could have your baby could be Eric. We could have the tortoise who's Eric, and then we could get Eric from down below. He could come up. "That's right, sir." "That's right. Hello, Eric. You're right." "That's right." We could have him. They'd be full of Erics. It would be lovely. It would be a wonderful thing. Mark Green, hello Mark. Helen says, "I got lots of medicine for her yesterday." Are you? Yes, Julia. Are you taking the medicine that your mum got for you? Julia has always got medicine. Whenever we go out on a walk or an investigation, you know, she's always got this great big bag full of everything. If I make a scratch, you know, if I go through a bramble and there's a little bramble does a little nick, Julia gets on her nurse's uniform. It's a very nice little outfit with a big red cross on it. And she gets all these ointments out and she says, oh, you've got to have this on it and this, and a bit of Savlon here and a bit of Suavlo here and a bit of Swahili's cream over that. Big plaster bandage. We better put some plaster of Paris all over you. The next thing I know is I'd be mummified. Mummified. That's right. Mummified. It is strange. Pam Gill says, hello, Richard. Hello, Pam. How are you doing? Are you doing well? Kushti says, I used to have a goldfish called Colin. Imagine. Did you have to keep reminding the goldfish every time he went round that that was his name? Because by the time he got to the other side of the bowl, probably forgot, didn't he? They've only got 20-second memory. Helen says, her tortoise is Eric. No, you don't want another grandson called Eric then, Helen. You don't want another. That would be lovely. Hello, Eric. Oh. It'd be great. Nikki Jess says, hi, Richard. Hello, Nikki. Mark Selwood says, Nikki fell over 3 days ago. 3 cracks in her arm. Needs an x-ray. Leg on her leg too, don't you, Nikki? Clumsy. What is it with all these people? I saw Glenn Johnson actually mention people in the Bald Explorer group try to be a bit more careful. I think, people are hurting themselves. It's a bit of a shame. Stuart Douch. Hello, Stuart, mate. How are you? Are you well over there in Sompting? No, my computer. Oh, she's watching it on the computer, says Helen. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. I was hoping I would be like booming in on that massive telly with you. They come straight. They'll come with a straight jacket. They will. They will. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, bear yourself for the story now, ladies. Bear yourself for the story. I need a glass of water. I live in a parade of houses. A terrace of houses. 2 up, 2 down. Very modest. At the back of our house, ladies and gentlemen, at the back of our house is a little, what would you call it? A little alleyway, quite narrow. Some years ago, before I came here, and I've been living here for 28 years, ladies and gentlemen, 28 years I've lived in this house, man and boy. And I know I only look 21. It's amazing, isn't it? 28 years I've lived here, and behind me is now Morrison's. But before that, it was the Co-op. And sometimes I still refer to... I'm just nipping over to the Co-op. But Morrison's has been there for probably about 10 years. But it seems like forever. Anyway, the Co-op built a wall. And they built a wall leaving quite a bit of space where they built the wall at the back of the house, which effectively enlarged the alleyway. And they said... that alleyway is proviso for the residents in this length of this little parade of houses to park their cars. And when I moved in, a lady down the road said to me, she said, there's been an arrangement, you can park your car behind your house thanks to the Co-op. And we all thought this was absolutely marvellous. And there had been painted some lines on there with numbers saying, you know, which house, which number, which house, etc. And everybody who does that obeys that basic unwritten rule. It's an unwritten rule. It's not a legal rule. It's a bit peculiar because actually, although it is a right of way, the alley, half of it belongs to the council, but part of it is actually no man's land because another neighbour of mine investigated about a bit of land that the pub have said it's their car park, but actually it's not owned by the pub, it's not owned by anybody, and it used to be railway land. So if anybody owns it, it's actually the old railway who owns it, but nobody owns it now. It's an anomaly. The council don't own it, so that's at the far end. Anyway. So my bit is on the cusp, you see, ladies. It's on the cusp. Lovely word, on the cusp. So let's get to the meat and veg of the story. So that was 28 years ago. We've all been doing that. Everybody's fine. I have another neighbour now who's been here for a few years, quite a few years, not as long as me, and she will park her car wherever she likes. She doesn't take this reasonable outlook that most people will want to park their car at the rear of their house. Now, we're all a little bit, we're all sort of quite happy if the alleyway is filled up because other people park. People who want to work in the hospital will park. There's flats over that way. People will park there. And we do ask them politely if you would rather not park there, but people do. And it's a nuisance. But that's life, you know. Life is a nuisance. However, so if you come back and somebody's in your space and there's suddenly another space, you can park your car in somebody else's space, but the next day, you know, reasonable people, civilized people, sophisticated people, people with half a brain, even a quarter of a brain, will go, oh, I'm in somebody else's, but I will move it. And as soon as the space becomes free in the back of your house, you would move it. We're all reasonable like this, apart from one woman. One woman, ladies and gentlemen, one bad egg. She lives down the road and she will park belligerently wherever she damn well likes. And I've asked her many times, said, excuse me, look, I do have deliveries at my house. I need to park here. Sometimes I need to get in. Do you mind not parking your car there? I've been very nice, put polite notices, very well, whatever. She completely ignores it and continually says, I will park wherever I like. The thing is, she will park. She works one day a week. She's a nurse and she works nights and she works one night a week. So she will pick her car up, she will go off on this one night, come back the following day and park her car. And then she'll leave it there for a week. Wherever it is, she will leave. So if it's in your space, you've had it, mate. If you've got an order of logs coming, for example, and the van can only just get in and they can get the logs out and put it where you would normally put your car, but you move your car so you can get your logs in, but you can't because her car is blocking the way, you are stuffed. And if she parks in your bay, you've had it, because she will not move that car come whatever. Now, I have a little plastic barrier, which is a proper barrier I've acquired, and a couple of dustbins. Which people have put rubbish in. It's quite weighty. So when I go out and I know that I need that space and I'm particular, or I'm having a delivery of logs or something like that, I put the bins in and the barrier. There's no parking is actually on the wall. And so I do that. But that doesn't make any difference to this woman. She will move those things out the way and she will belligerently park her car, knowing that it's awkward for me, knowing I will park my car wherever I like, she says. And then she'll leave it there for a whole week. So then if I've got a delivery of logs or something like that coming in, I can't get in because her car is in the way. So it's a nuisance. It's an absolute nuisance. And this has been going on for donkey's years. For a while, she started to leave me alone. And then all of a sudden it started coming back. She keeps parking there. I put a polite notice on, excuse me, try to explain the situation. I've had a conversation with her once and said, look, I don't mind if you park it there because there's nowhere else and then the next day you move it. That's fine. You know, we're all reasonable people. But no, she will park it there and then she will not touch it for one whole week. So this has gone on and on and on. I'm tearing my hair trying to think, how can I need to put some sort of blocks in there that either they come up from the concrete that you can actually bar anybody else parking there, or some sort of arm that comes out of the wall and protects the space, and I have the key to the padlock. All of these schemes have come into my mind because because some people, my neighbour a long time ago used to keep his car in his garden, in his back garden. You could bring the car up the lane, you could swing it round and get it into his parking space. It's one up from me. Now, if somebody parked opposite his house, he could not get his car out. They would be blocking his access. Even though there's a bit of road space, he still wouldn't have enough turning room. And if I did the same and she parked there, I wouldn't be able to get out. So people don't do that because they fear that someone will block them in. So that's the situation. It's been going on like that for donkey's years, and as you can imagine, it would tear. We've all put up with it. We've all asked her, and she will not do anything about it. I happened to be this evening talking to Richard Suggett on the phone. We were chatting away and I was telling him that this was going on and it was a nightmare. And I happened to walk outside into the alley, sort of, I was explaining some schemes I've got with these arms that come out and block off the space. And blow me, ladies and gentlemen, if the woman herself was not coming up to her car where I was parked. Now, Richard Suggett will bear me out because I left the phone recording and he heard every word of this, and this is no word of a lie. He will back me up. I leaned out and I politely said, "Excuse me, can you not park in there in future because I need to get a delivery of logs and you've been there for a whole week and well actually 2 weeks because you did it twice running." And I said, I need to get a log. "No, I'm not going to. I will park wherever I like. I've had the police out here before and we can park wherever we want. We don't have to park at the back of our house." And I said, "I appreciate all of that, but, you know, sometimes if I've got something coming, it's very awkward if you leave your car for 7 days in one space. I will park," she said, "wherever I like." So I said, "Okay." I wound up the window. I drove down the lane about 20 feet. I parked the car in the middle of the lane. I got out the car and I locked the car, thus blocking her in the lane and she could not get out. And I just simply turned round and said, "And I will park my car then wherever I like." I came away from that and she said, "Well, you can't do that." And she said, "Well, if you stay there, I'll ring the police." I said, "Well, you're very welcome to ring the police. The police won't do anything." So she rang the police and told the police. She said, "There's this bloke, he's blocked me in. He's blocked me in and I'm a nurse." And I left it like that. No, the police didn't come. Nobody came. She sat in her car and she was steaming away. And I left it like I was talking to Mr. Suggett the whole time. He can bear me out on all of this. And after 20 minutes, when she had rung up her work to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't come in. There's some idiot who's blocked me in. He's got the Ford Explorer on the back of his car." And she told the police all the details and blah, blah, blah. So I just thought, sod it. I left it for a good 20 minutes. And then I thought, well, okay, if the police comes and says, what will they say? The worst they'll say is, "Look, mate, can you move your car?" And I'll say, "Yes, of course, sir. Of course, officer. I'll move my car." I may explain the situation that she leaves her car in this space and she just leaves it and it's very unreasonable. And I would then ask them, I say, "Could you not explain to her that while it's no problem her parking there once, but if she moves it the next day, it would be very convenient because she doesn't come out of her house. She's like a bloody hermit. She won't answer the door. She winds the window up. She won't be talked to. She won't respond to anyone. She won't listen to anybody. And there's plenty of other people in the street who will back me up on this because they've all had the same issue." So that's what I was going to do. Anyway, I left it 20 minutes and then I thought, well, okay, let's not be completely unreasonable. I have made my point. Basically, park in my space and I am likely to block you in because where do I put my car? So I moved my car after 20 minutes so that she would only be 20 minutes late. So it's, you know, it's not like I left it there all night. Other people might want to use the lane, obviously, but nobody else came. I kept an eye on it. After 20 minutes, I moved my car and off she went. So I've made my point. And the thing is, I now know what day she goes to work and what time she leaves her car. So if she does it again, I should just move my car back up there and block her in. I will just do that. For again, only for 20 minutes or so. I'm not going to be complete, you know, because what will the police do? They may just say, "Look, mate, you can't do this." And you say, "Yeah, no, fair enough. I'll move it." And so I'll be very respectful and go along with the law if they ask me to move the car. But for all they know, I'm loading my car. Yeah, I'll be finished in a minute. I've just got to load my car with some logs and some wood because I haven't been able to unload my car or whatever it is. I'll just do this and then she's free to go. If she had parked in her space, which is further down, she'd have easy access. There would be no problem because I'm further up the lane. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm very appreciative that you spent the time listening to it, and I've got it off my chest. The police as yet have not knocked on my door, you'll be pleased to know. And for a moment there, I stopped talking. So, let's have a look and see how that's now. Where is Glenn tonight, says Nigel Sadler. Actually, it's... that's not true about a goldfish. Oh, apparently goldfishes, that's not true. Thanks, Helen. Fiona Cooper is good. Fiona Cooper, good evening. Bit late. Ian Beddoe says, "Dear Vobes, is there any way to get your podcasts on Amazon Alexa Doodabs? I have absolutely no idea. I'd like to put some of the back catalogues of the Vobes show, the old Vobes show, on there. That would be great." Mark Selwood says, "Mr. Sadler, how did you cope with the Vobes on your own? Give me some tips." It was fine. We had a lovely time. Lovely Julia says, anonymously, and laughs, thanks, yes. "Railway, I claim it," says Steve Pill. Oh, that's the little bit of no man's land. You're very welcome. Lloyd Wakelin, hello, Lloyd. How are you? George Timperley has joined. George Timperley, let me tell you, tomorrow is your day, George Timperley. Tomorrow. Richard, me, Billy and I go to the East Somerset Railway, you will see steam trains. In tomorrow's show, you will not be disappointed. Mark Sadler says, he's not much trouble, really. He does keep stopping and starting and retracing his steps, claims he's making a film or something. It's the Alzheimer's coming in. I need to go back and think, where was I going? And then I go forward. Dave Baker has arrived. Cynthia Walder, Emily Champion. Good evening to you, Dave. Lovely to see you. Sorry I'm late. I was on litter picking duty. That's all right, Emily. Mark Seward says something to somebody. Steve Pilford says, this is the longer way of explaining someone took my space ever. Well, that's me. I've got to fill an hour, and I've done 25 minutes. So there we are. What sort of car does she drive? Oh, it's got the, you know, the circles? I think it's, you know that the Olympics have got those circles? She's got one of those with circles on it. It's a white car. Andy Joy says she's actually in the right unless you have a numbered bay. I've been through this with my neighbour. Well, she can't just leave it there because it's a nuisance. Richard says it gets better, according to Steve. Something about parking spaces. Mark Selwood says, even though... Ever thought of bollards? A load of bollards. Well, in the end, I may have to put some bollards up on that space. You see, the space is owned, technically, by Morrison's. It's not... Oh, hello. Lost the signal. The space is owned by Morrison's, technically, and not actually by the Highways Agency. So, the bit that we actually... You see, you've got the road, and half of the road is the council's. The other half of the lane is the bit that Morrison's, or the co-op, generously gave us. So you have this wider bit of road. So one half, and the bit that we all park our cars on is the bit that's owned by Morrison's. Technically, they don't want it. They put a wall there, and they're that side of the wall. Then there's this sort of 6 foot. Then there's another 6 foot, if you see what I mean. And the 6 foot, the original 6 foot is the council's 6 foot. And then it used to be railway land because they used to do shunting. Morrison's co-op built their thing. They built a wall and they left this strip of land, which they gave to us. They gave to us as residents. That's how it worked. A locking bollard. Now, the problem about a locking bollard is you need to drill into the concrete. And at the back, just so happens, there's a lot of drains and Southern Water have their stuff. So I don't want to go in and muck up Southern Water stuff. So that's a problem. Wonderful to know you've got a lovely boy, Julia. So that's very nice. Helen says park behind her. Park behind... Well, no, you see, all the spaces have gone. That's the whole point. You can't just park behind her. I would park in other people's bays. But then you're exacerbating it, of course, aren't you? Because other people park their cars behind their house. So she's parked in front of my house. Other people park in front of theirs. And then it's me going, well, where do I park now? And she's doing that because someone's parked in her space. So instead of going, oh, well, I'll park somewhere else so I don't upset everybody. Now, I never try not to park in anybody else's space. David says, do you want me to make a Henry's video adventure about... Yes, I do. Yes, please. Henry, do a Henry's adventure about her. Evening. Sorry I'm late. Steve Blakey says, Richard says he bears witness to it, which is good. George Timpley says, I did that once to my granddad's yard. He had the same problem. Mark says she's a silly cow. Ian says, do you need to borrow a motorhome? Yes, maybe that will block her in. I shall pop round with a steamroller. Mark, that would be marvellous. Flatten the thing. Are you covered for fire damage to your car? Yes, I think I'm comprehensive on my car. Why do you ask? Park our cars out there, says Laura Riddle. Have you got anyone got a spare car? Can't see the police coming out for that, says Cushty Phil. They won't even come to a shop to arrest shoplifters if it's less than £100 worth of goods. Exactly. I can't see that there's going to be any issue at all. They may knock on the door and say, we had this thing, did you park? And I say, well, actually, I moved it. I moved it 20 minutes later. I'm ever so sorry. And that'll be the end of it. Lloyd Wakelin says, Dee-dar, here they come. Yes, thanks very much. John Molster says, hello, Richard. Need a new calendar. Yes, we were talking about that. Need a new calendar. We do. Emily Champion says, it's got wheels. It's an Audi. Yes, that's it. It's an Audi. There we go. An Audi typical. Everyone's telling me it's an Audi. Richard Suggers says, Audi says it all, I'm afraid. Kevin Hall, I parked my van next to it all last Friday afternoon. Yeah, there we go. She hadn't moved. She hadn't moved since you'd been here, Kevin. She hadn't moved it once. It was still there. Wow, it must be really handy having Morrison's over the wall, although we have a nice chippy across the road. Well, that's where we'll be eating when I come down. I've organised this wonderful trip down to Mark Selwood's place. Can't remember when it is. It's in the diary. We're coming down for about 3 days. I'm coming down the night before, and we're going to go and have some looks at Cornwall, and we're going to make some videos, which will be great. Richard Suggett says, fill the bins with concrete. Well, do you know what? I did think I should just fill the bins with concrete right up to the top, so they're very heavy, and put them in my bay in front of her car. And if she can't move them, well, that's tough. Depressed, it's snowing, says John. Where are you, John? What part of the world are you where it is snowing? Be interested in that. Right, we got through that, half an hour, and we've told that story. That was the content for the show. Fantastic. Let me have a gargle. I popped round to see the lovely Julia earlier today. On the way back, and Julia's not very well, so I hope I now don't have the cold. We sat outside. She says, sit outside in the garden so you don't get infected. She sat one end of the lawn and I sat the other end, and we were bellowing to each other so that all the neighbours could hear, and talking about our adventures that we're going to be doing when we go up north to Cumbria and Nova Scotia. Not Nova Scotia, Northumberland. I knew it was something like that. I went to see the lovely Claire Leach, who's not online tonight because she said, I'm not watching the Vobes show this evening. I'm going to a pub quiz with her mum, although her mum's actually in another group. So that's quite interesting. So she's going to watch the rerun, she said, but it's not as fun, which is true. If you're watching the rerun on YouTube, I completely agree. It's not as, because you can't, take part, which is a bit of a blow, but I understand how it goes. Anyway, Claire and I, we went over to Telscombe Village, up on the downs there, above the chalk cliffs, and we made a video. Then the lovely Claire took me out for a slap-up lunch, gave me a slap, and sent me on my way. So in order to sort of recover from that, I went to see the lovely Julia. And lovely Julia then thrust into my hand, she said, it's Easter. Look what I've got for you, Mr. Vobes. And I said, oh, blimey. She said, oh, I saw it. I couldn't resist. She said, I've got my boys and her husband one. And she said, I saw this and I just couldn't resist. And I thought, who would like a nice big cock carole? I think it's a cockerel, is it? It's got all the various things. And she said, I know somebody who would like that. And so she gave it to me. So I thought on the show, because I like a bit of chocolate, thought I'd open it up. She would have liked to have been here. She said, I was hoping to get on the show, but unfortunately she's not very well. So, what about this, ladies and gentlemen? This is very posh and very nice and very expensive. It's very nice. Nice little cockerel there. And underneath, it's made of solid gold. It is solid gold chocolate. Underneath, it's got some lovely eggs and a little I presume that's a chocolate. Oh golly, a chocolate basket. That must be a chocolate basket. So, oh, it does smell very nice. Wait, hang on. How does this go together? I've broken it now. Hang on. I've just got to work out how this goes back together again. That goes in. No, that goes. Does that go in? Oh god, Julia. I've bust it. Oh, wait. Oh, hang on. I know how it goes. Hang on. Sorry about this. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You don't get this on radio. That goes that way. That sits on the top like that. All the eggs go in. One's gone on the floor. And of course, one has to wait till Easter Sunday, don't you, before you have all your lovely Easter stuff, and that's absolutely fair. If I remember last time, I think the lovely Julia bought me an Easter egg last year for the show. So kind of her. She's very kind, especially if she's not feeling very well. So, thank you very much, Julia. Here's to you. Get better soon. Nice bit of chocolate. Everybody likes a nice chocolate cockerel, don't they? Especially if you live in Dorking, because I got one in a roundabout. Great big giant silver cockerel. Oh, that's better. Anyway, if you fancy sending me an Easter egg, I wouldn't bother. I've got lots here, and I'm trying to be on a diet. I'm trying to keep myself svelte. Of all the felt I've ever spelt, I've never spelt a piece of felt that's felt. No, that's not right. Of all the felt I've ever felt, I've never felt a piece of felt that felt like that felt. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. Which peck of pickled pepper did Peter Piper pick? He picked the peck of pickled pepper that Peter Piper puck. Peter Piper puck? He pucked a pick of peckle, did he? Poor bugger. Right, so anyway, John says, he's in Wisconsin near the Mississippi River. Oh, blimey. And it's snowing out there. Luckily, we haven't had any snow. Had a nice day today, but it was windy. It was windy. A chocolate chicken. Is it a chicken then? Is it a chicken? I thought if it had all this stuff on its head and stuff, it was a cockerel. Maybe it is a chicken. I suppose because it's got eggs. You know, it just suddenly dawned on me. It's not a cockerel. I take that all back. It's a chicken, isn't it? Because it's laying the eggs. Yes, I get it. Yeah, j'ai comprende. Thank you. I don't have many brains. I keep those for the days I'm not doing the show. Otherwise, I'd have trouble. I keep those for days I'd block the neighbours in. Steve Pilfold says, not been to Telscombe village for ages, so remote up the lane. Well, I can tell you, it's very nice up there, very deserted, but I'm sure, it's one of those places. We went to the stud farm. The stud farm's just outside, you know, by the village, the stud farm. His farmer came out and he said, "Oi, you!" He looked at me, he looked me up and down, and he went, yeah, you're the sort of virile bloke we need in here. I said, I'm ever so sorry. I'm doing some filming with Claire Leach. You'll have to wait. I'll come back later if you need my services. They said, well, you know, apparently they do a lot of breeding up there. It was called Henrietta the hen on the price tag. Was it Henrietta the hen, not a big cock? Right, okay. I apologise. Did she lay any eggs? Yes, she did. Look. Here's an egg. A nice red egg. Look at this. Boof. Gone. Where's it gone? There it is. How does that work? I'm just going to watch that back to see whether the sleight of hand worked. Oh, yeah, that looked pretty good. Marvellous, isn't it? Magician never reveals his tricks. He went up my sleeve, of course. Nice little change from the run-of-the-mill of chocky eggs, says Mark Selwood. Yes, it is, actually. It's very nice. Did she lay near? Still Pawford says, a cockerel sitting on eggs. When will the biological penny drop? It did drop. I have explained that, thank you. I know, you typed that before I got to it. I appreciate that. Oh, silly typos. Yes, chomp, chomp. That's very nice, thank you. Andy Joy says, that's what she said, Richard. It's Pancake Day soon, says, is it? I thought we'd had Pancake Day. Haven't we had I thought Pancake Day comes out on Shrove Tuesday. Julia's saying, okay, bye for now. I'll catch you on YouTube later. Okay, Steve Bailey, nice to see you. Take care, mate. Lovely to have met you. It's felt hat. Of all the felt I've ever... Oh, felt hat, is it? When he starts choking, we can make the gagging on... Yes, thanks very much, Steve. I think we'll leave that one. The penny dropped. It did indeed. Shirley Ward. Hello, Shirley. How are you? Lovely to see you. By the way, haven't cashed your cheque yet. It's still sitting on my desk. I am very impecunious, as you know, and I shall whiz down to the bank on the first day I have managed to have free. I could have done it yesterday, but it was raining, and of course I don't like to get my bonce wet. Nobody bald like us likes to get our bonces wet. Stud Farm, that's where I need to be, says Mark Selwood. Oh, yeah. No, it didn't, says Ian Beddoe. No, it didn't. What, we haven't had pancakes? We've had Pancake Day. People have had them. They've had their pancakes. Just a minute. I may be sick later on, ladies and gentlemen. I just realised I've had the back end of a chicken. Delicious. Very nice. So, there are trips coming up. There are trips. The lovely Julia and I will be off in 2 weeks' time up north to see Robert Croser and Cheryl Craggs with an S. And we're really looking forward to that. We've got a B&B all organised up there in somewhere called Brampton, which is very nice. A bit of a long journey up there. We're going up on the 20... we're going up there. We are going up there on the day after Easter Sunday. Is that the 23rd? I think it is, something like that. I have to look in the diary. There's no point looking in the calendar because I haven't got one. But we're going up there, and we're up there for something like 4 days. 4 days of actual exploring and then a day of travelling either side. It's quite a big adventure. Julia will probably have throttled me by the end of the week. I do know that she is pregnant, so I will try not to work her too hard. And if she's very exhausted, I will just say, look here, love, you stay here. I'll go and do the video making and come back and make sure you're all right. And she can stay on Facebook and make sure and post all the pictures as we do it. Well, anyway, we hope to do that. I've also got a trip, as Mark Selwood knows. When is it? I can't remember when I'm coming down to Cornwall now. That will be very soon, and that's going to be exciting. Then I've got a trip with the lovely Kevin here, Kevin Hall, and we are going to the Peak District. I think we're there for something like 4 days. And I think by the end of that week, Kevin will be ready to throttle me. Everybody will be ready to throttle me by the end of it. Then I've got... I've done a trip, as you know, with my son Billy, which was absolutely amazing. And tomorrow, Billy and I, as I say, will be at the East Somerset Railway. We went to the Cheddar Gorge, and that was absolutely delightful. I made a bit of a blunder there because I said it was the only gorge in the country, or the only, craggy bit like that. And somebody corrected me and said there's somewhere up in the Yorkshire Dales that's even more impressive. So I need to go up to the Yorkshire Dales. Who would like to go up to the Yorkshire Dales with the old Vobes and keep him company? We'll book a B&B somewhere and we'll go up there and wander around the old Yorkshire Dales looking for James Herriot, because we might be able to stick our arm up a few cows, which will be quite fun. At the weekend, it's lambing season, and I'm going up to see Adrian Lidgett, who is legit, and there may be a chance. He says, bring your rubber gloves. There may be a chance where I can get to hold a newborn lamb. Now, I would take the lovely Julia, but it's not advisable to take a pregnant lady near lambs. However, Julia is very welcome to come along, because I know she likes that sort of stuff. Maybe she can stay at a distance and watch. I don't know. We need to take proper advice on that, because she's not very well at the moment anyway, so she may not be in a fit state to do that. That's this weekend, maybe Sunday, not quite sure. So that's all right. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to be going out meeting this chap called Gerald Cresham Cook, who's in Tillington, and looking at ancient trees, I think, around Petworth Park and that vicinity. I'm not 100% sure exactly on it. It's all a bit of a mystery. But I cannot leave this house until that woman has done her night shift and parked her car, and then I know where she's leaving it for a week, and then I'm free to drive off. So I need to send an email to Gerald to say I may be a bit late, because I may have left a bit early normally, but I need to wait till the woman down the road has done the dirty, so to speak. So that's all. That's some of the stuff that was coming up. I did have this thing in Lincolnshire to go and look at some churches in May, but I just think I'm going to be a bit skint, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to afford another Airbnb. I'm sure there's another trip in the diary, but I can't remember where it is and where I'm going. So that's where we were. Let's catch up with some of the comments. Mark Selwood says, hi, Shirley. Me and Nikki will still love to visit you one day. Don't let him in. Don't let him in. Laura Riddle says, how can you eat like that? Oh, what, like this? Very easily. Ian Beddoes says, Billy won't be happy that you're eating his Easter eggs. These are mine, thank you. They're mine. Dean Cooper, the North Pole. Dean, you and I, we're going to the North Pole. Are there any Airbnbs up on the North Pole? That would be interesting. Cheryl Craig says 23rd to the 25th, I think you said. I think it's the 23rd to the 28th. We're coming back on the 28th. That's our travelling back day. We go up on the 23rd then. So we'll be there 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. That's 4 days of exploring, and we'll be heading back because it's a whole day of travelling. And I don't want Julia sitting in the car all day because she's pregnant. So obviously she can't sit in the car all of that time. That would be unreasonable. so she can sit on the roof for some of the time. Shirley Ward says it's okay. I'm sorry, I'm a bit. That's all right. You don't have to worry that you're just a bit. Ian Beddoes says, still room at ours if you need it. Thanks, Ian. That's very kind. Oh, yeah, because I know you're down our way on Saturday, aren't you? And so I'm not quite sure what my situation is still on Saturday. The lovely Julia says, there's places in Skipton I'd like to see. Skipton? Where's Skipton? That's up north, isn't it? Oh, the Yorkshire Dales. The Yorkshire Dales. Well, Julia, of course you've got first, but we'll have to wait till after you've had your sprog, and then wait until you're in a condition where we can put this thing on a papoose, if that's all right, or just leave the baby with Chaz. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that, and then just skip, and we'll go for round the Yorkshire Dales. We'll go skipping round Skipton for 2 weeks. 2 weeks we'll do it. I'm sure Chaz would be very happy. Be happy with that. Baby throwing up on demand on his bottle, and nappies. Remind him what fatherhood is all about. So that'd be fun. Andy Joy says, Richard, never try and tell a pregnant woman she can't do something. It hurts a lot when they slap you. Ah, yes. Well, that's very. I've just got melted chocolate all over my laptop. I've got because I forgot the laptop is hot. Just a minute. This might all end in tears. Just bear with me. If I don't do something about it now. Chocolate all over the laptop. Can you believe it? Hang on. There's a better way of doing this. Much nicer. I don't know how you get the chocolate. There's a little mesh thing, fancy little mesh thing that looks all very nice until you've got melted chocolate in it. So whatever you do, next time you have one of these and one of those, don't do this. So not a good idea. So not a good idea. Mark Selwood says, Richard, if Julia tells you she's had enough, just tell her to pull herself together. That normally does the trick with women, says Mark Selwood. Thanks, Mark. Sound advice. See how far that gets me. Emily Champion. It's lovely up Dales, aye. Emily says, I've been up Dales many time, me with Whippet. I'll have let go walking. Over hills and dales. I love it. Especially I go in search of where they put the bodies. You know, that woman. What? That woman with Ian Brady, who they killed some don't say that. That's not very nice. I always go up there to see if I can find. No, that's horrible. Stop it. Mark Green, on the other hand, says, will you be at Whiston Steam Rally this year? I don't know. Where is it? Whiston, you fool. Is that Whiston down the road at near Stenning, Whiston? Is that where you're going to be, Mark? Are you going to be there? I'd love to come. What are the dates? Tell me when the dates are. I'd love to come. We'll do an interview. You can show me around the different steam engines. Tell me about their pistons and the pressure in the firebox. Always very interesting. And tell me about the different grades of steam that you get and the colours. The Pantone 604 colour of the grey at a certain temperature, and how many pounds per square inch you can get that thrust going, because everyone wants to know what pound per square inch their thrust is going. And if you've got a Werble spring or a wiggle knock, then I'd love to see it. Steve Pilfold says, we used to go on holiday to the Dales up at north. I loved it up on the Dales, all them lovely hills. Oh, we loved it. Go up there looking for the graves of those poor children who... Don't you start. No, stop it. Those poor children. Is that Myra Hindley? She would... No, stop it. It's nasty. Dale Winton says, was my favourite Dale. Oh, I say. Dale Winton, blimey. How about that? He had a nasty end, didn't he? He died, didn't he? Yeah, maybe. Do you go up on the Dales looking for his... No, of course you don't. Shirley Ward says it's okay, no problem. That's all right, Shirley. You're a good lady. Steve Pilfold says, I went to his supermarket. I parked outside. When I went to his supermarket, I parked outside this bloke's house. Oh yeah. And left your car there for a week. Christy Phil says, the Parsons nose has gone. Gone where? I don't know. No idea what that reference is. Kevin or Mr. Vobes, how much was the Airbnb on our trip? I think the Airbnb on our trip was I think it was about 180 quid, something like that. I've paid it. It's all done. You don't have to worry about it. All comes out the patrons' funds. You know, that's what it's for. They're the lovely patrons are very kindly supporting the show. So but the thing is that now this is honest truth. Okay, this is how I operate, and I think this is fair. Patrons send in their money very kindly, and I make the videos. But this is the deal. So the money comes in, and obviously most of it disappears on petrol, to be fair. But sometimes when I do these trips, the money goes towards the Airbnb. I go for the cheapest and not nicest, but, you know, I don't go for the expensive. We're not living in luxury, but these Airbnbs can be very nice. And we found a very nice one, but wasn't very expensive. And for two people, it was something like £65 a night. For two people, 2 bedrooms. £65 a night. I think that's very rich. So basically £30 a night each, sort of thing. So it's about 180 quid for the nights that we were staying there. You get 2 bedrooms, you get the lounge, and you get a little kitchen. So you can cook your own food. So you can save money when you cook your own food. It's absolutely brilliant. Love it. I think it's such a fantastic thing. Same thing that Billy and I did when we were away. Except the patrons didn't fund that, because that was actually a thing that, excuse me, that my son and I did. Patrons didn't pay that. But here's the deal. I think, and this is where it's fair. The idea is that it's not a holiday. It's not a holiday. Now, John Berger, are you still out there, John Berger? Because I need you to verify this. John Berger knows that back in 2007, I think it was, 2007, myself and a chap called Paul Stoneman went over to America for 2 weeks. And we made podcasts, and we made a video over that. We didn't make videos like the way we're doing, but we were doing podcasts every day. We were did a Naked Englishman, we did a podcast, we were out visiting places, we were taking pictures, we were uploading. It was not a holiday, it was a working trip. That's how this is. So, and Julia will attest to that. When we went to Glastonbury, she knows I'm a blooming slave driver, because I feel that, and this is absolutely honest, put my hands up, it's not a holiday. If I take the patrons' money and we go off and I spend that money on a B&B somewhere and petrol and stuff, my remit is to make as many videos as I can. If I can make 2 or 3 videos a day in that, then that's great. I will get up early, like I did when we were in Somerset, and I took a walk around the Somerset thing, made a video, put it out, and today that's the one in Castle Carey. Because that's what I do, and when I take people and I go away, I'm busy. I can't sit around at night time, zonk like that. But the rest of the time, Mark English will verify. Out we were. I was up in the morning. Mark was having a snooze. I was out in the morning getting the sunset. You may remember. So that's how I roll, because I think if I'm asking people to send money in, I have got a responsibility to spend that money and produce reasonable videos to the best of my ability, which, you know, is not the best in the world, but I do my best, and you know, I'm quite humble about it, he says. So that's the thing, Kevin. I'm not going to treat this as a holiday. We'll go walking, we'll make videos, but I will be. So I'm happy to pay your fare. But if you feel you want to pay your way and have time out, then that's a different thing. Of course, I certainly don't want to stop you. And if you think, well, it's a holiday for me, then I will go off and make videos on my own, because there's places I would like to see as well. So, you know, we can work it out. I don't want to be a slave driver, but I just feel that I want to give all the lovely patrons who support me and make this possible. I don't want anyone to say, oh, you're just spending the money and go and have holidays, because that's not what it's about. I hope that makes sense. I know I spend forever explaining it. Simon Brown, the lovely Simon Brown is here. John Small has joined. And Adam Hurley. Hello, guys. Lovely to see you. Shirley Ward says, that comment went too soon, Richard. I haven't lost the plot. No, I don't think for a moment you've lost the plot, Shirley. Emily Champion says, the only thing you can pull together are your curtains. That's true. Thanks. Whiston, yes. Mark Green, tell me the dates. I'd love to come along, and it would be great to see you. If you can get me in for free, even better. Nikki Jess says, thanks, Shirley. I'm getting a bit better. Robert Croser has finally joined. Hello, Robert. Good evening. Sorry I'm late. No problem. No problem, Robert. Julia and I are getting together on Friday, and we're going to start putting together a list of places we want to go. So, Robert, if you've got any suggestions, and if Cheryl's got some suggestions, I know she's put a sort of wish list, but they're right over on the East Coast. We might have to pull them in a bit because we're in Brampton. I want to do a bit of Cumbria and a bit of Northumberland, and a bit of Hadrian's Wall, but with a bit of leeway. I want to meet both of you guys. I know Julia is very itching to see Cheryl again and do some stuff, and I think that's great. And we want to get Robert on board as well. And we thought if we can convene it correctly, we would like to get Robert and Cheryl and us while we're up there and have a pub lunch and take you guys out for lunch for being such lovely people and looking after us and showing us around on one of those days in that week. We'd like to do that because and get everybody happy and do it behind the scenes and all of that. It would be lovely, won't it? It'd be great. You'll find him in the freezer aisle, says Henry David Allen. Not quite sure who. Are you talking about Ian Brady? Richard says, we should do a trip on the Eden Project. There we go, Richard. Well, you and I need to go, and you need to book some time off, and we could go off and do something interesting. That would be fantastic. Busman's Holiday for you, says Robert Crosser to Richard. Kushti Phil says, the Parson's nose is the rear end of the chicken. Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, there's not much left of this chicken. Thank you very much. The brain all over the place. Paul Hine. Hello, Paul. Lovely to see you. Thanks for coming by. Mark says the Eden Project is great, but very busy. Yeah, we don't want to go to the very busy places unless you can go off-season and really early in the morning. That's the best. Mark English. Hello, Mark. Just talking about you, having a snooze. Hope you don't mind. Not being rude. But I did go out and do that sunrise. Robert Croser says, working trip up north then. It's worth what I chip in monthly. Aye, there we are. Thanks very much. You're a star. Pam Gill is the cider farm Richard S? Yeah, maybe. No, I won't treat it as a holiday. I know you won't, Kevin. I know we spoke about it. I know. I'm just sort of illustrating to everybody else, just so that they don't think, these trips are just him going off. Glenn Johnson. Hello, Glenn. Thanks for passing by. Lovely to see you. We mentioned you earlier, by the way. I need you, Glenn. I need you on a what day is it? Wednesday night. I need you on a Wednesday night to stand outside my house and stop my neighbour from parking where she parks. I need somebody with your haircut and your build. She wouldn't dare to park there then. Rose Brooker says, your videos are much better than what's on TV. And what I donate is much cheaper than the TV licence. Oh, what a lovely lady you are. Thank you so much, Rose. We do our best. And, and to be honest with you, and this is, again, me talking from my heart. It isn't just me doing this. There's the senior management group, the lovely Julia, there's Matthew Holdsworth, Richard Suggett and Mark English. And they all sort of help and guide me and tell me what I can do and what I can't do, what I can say and what I can't say. Usually after the event, when I've said it and put my foot in it, they usually do that. There's all the people in the group who post things and react to things. There's people on the YouTube channel who comment and all that. It's a real team effort. I know sometimes it may just look like it's me putting my mug up in front of it, and I'm the anchor man, as it were. But it isn't really just about me. It's about everybody. You've got the lovely Steve Pilfold there, who chips in and keeps me going with his signals and all of that. It's lovely, and we will meet sometime soon, hopefully, Steve. And then there's all you lot that tune in regularly. One couldn't do this without all the love and affection that comes from all you guys. It's very supportive, and that's what makes it happen. So thank you so much, Rose. That's a lovely comment. Robert says, yes, that's fine. Robert says, I'll put a reasonable list together. You are fantastic. Like the sound of that, says Cheryl, meeting up and having a free lunch. It's always good. Hello, people from my computer, says Glenn. Kevin all says, I'm sorting it out as a working trip to do as many videos as possible for you so that we can get together at some point and start an itinerary. Absolutely, absolutely. The only thing I would like to do is go to Bakewell, only because I know they've got some good tarts up there. And, well, you know, I like a nice tart. I had a lovely fruitcake. You might think that's what I eat all day long. Would explain a lot of things, wouldn't it? Yeah, probably true. Robert Chris, I'll meet the crag. No sweat. Yes, there we are. We will bring you two together, which will be lovely. Darren Robert Dandy says, "What ho, Mr. Vobes? Cracking show. Thank you very much, Darren. Lovely to have you on board. The more the merrier. We're all a jolly old ship here. We do our best as much as we can." Mark Selwood says, "I want Richard to have a taste of Cornwall, but I and Richard, I'm sure, don't want to visit the tourist traps. I'm happy about traipsing through farmland." Exactly. Mark, I'm in your hands, really. I know that Mark, the other Mark, Mr. Withercue, was curious about going to a place he mentioned, and then you said, well, that's very busy and all the tourist people go there. I'm not really that bothered about going to where the tourists go. I want to see the quirky bits of Cornwall where the tourists don't know. I know going to all these famous places is absolutely ideal for the keywords and getting the views on YouTube and all of that, but I'm not really interested in that. I would much rather see, as you said, a sample of Cornwall, which isn't the known places, but I want to see the quirky unknown. I think that's what makes life much more interesting, because anybody who goes to Cornwall, you know, it's like when Americans, they come over to the UK and they go, hell, we're going to go to London. We're going to see the Tower of London. It's like, yeah, everybody goes to the Tower of London. Well, we'll go to Hampton Court and the Maze. Yeah, everybody goes to Hampton Court and the Maze. You know, and Robert, there was a chap called, what's his name? Robert, such a long-term viewer, and I love him to bits. Robert, what's your name, Robert? Anyway, doesn't matter. It does matter to him, and it matters that I've forgotten his surname. Robert, not Robert Croser, different one. Robert Reed. So sorry, Robert. Long-term, listened right from the day one of the old Vobe shows, back in the beach hut on the podcast that I used to do. And he said he came over to the UK with his family, and he said, do you know what, I've been listening to your show and was going to go and do all the usual stuff, but in the end he went to Arundel Castle. Okay, so it's a castle, it's quite famous, does get quite busy. He said, but I would never have gone down into Sussex and seen Arundel Castle if I hadn't listened to the Vobes on the podcast. And he said loved it. It was absolutely brilliant, so charming, went round the village with his family and they all loved it. So that's what I like to do, go to the quirky places that not many people go to, which is greght. Mark says, I just read out that one. Thanks, Mark. Kevin Hall says, Bakewell, not a problem, and really nice fish and chips there. Well, there you go. Probably, I mean, having said that, Bakewell's probably a place where everybody goes, but I have been on the Peak District when I was near Doncaster in a pantomime in Doncaster. Went up with a lovely young lady who played the Prince, and she was Annie Sanger Davis, her name was, and she and I went for a trip. We were doing a pantomime, and I think it was just her. I can't remember if anybody else came with us. I think it was just her. We went out for a trip and went walking because she was interested in walking, and we went walking together. It was great. Nothing dodgy was going on, but we just had a lovely walk up in the Peak District, and it was very nice. I swore that I would go back, and I do want to go back. Kevin Hall says, Bakewell, not a problem. Yeah. Dave Baker says, best show on Facebook, Mr. Vobes. Oh, there's far too many other things better than this old nonsense, but it's very kind of you to say that. It's very kind. Henry says, when you're in the Peak District, you're welcome to visit me. We will. Let's go and visit Henry. Kevin, make a note. We must go and we'll take Kevin. We'll take Henry out to lunch somewhere in a pub. Cheaper to go at lunchtime. Notice I always do lunchtimes. Evenings, they put the prices up, don't they? We'll meet at lunchtime if you're free, and it would be so nice. And then perhaps go and do, even if it's a 10-minute something, just whiz round somewhere. That would be brilliant. I can't think of anything nicer. It's so nice. I love to meet the people who are supportive of this show and bring us all together, because we are one big family. And do you know what? I think this is pretty unique. I don't know. I don't watch many other people doing this stuff, but you see people make YouTube videos. Some people share their Facebook stuff. Fewer of them I think will have a group that they're the head of and they try and chat and all that. I think what we're doing is quite unique here and very different. And I think that's what makes it stronger, personally. So David Henry says, when you're in it, I can show you the Leek area, the non-touristic side of the Peak District. That would be brilliant. Write that down, Kevin. We're going to Leek. We're going to take a leak. Cock a snoot. No, not cock a snoot. Anyway, whatever. John Berger says, worst Texas accent ever. Get off your horse and eat your beef. Drink your milk. Oh, never mind. Belle McKenna, hubby and I love tales of old Sussex. Belle, there are more tales of old Sussex. Have I got the book here? This is... here, wait. This book here... oh, no, hang on. This isn't Tales of Old Sussex. This is Pre-Reformation England by H. Bernard Smith. Not quite the same. Not quite the same. When was this published? See, they come to a point where they didn't even bother to... Oh, 1938. 100 years later. Pre-Reformation. There we go. I'll read you a bit of this. This will show you the state of play. This is real good stuff. This is probate and consistory courts. The probate courts also added to the unpopularity of the church, though only lawyers derived a profit from them. That didn't matter. They were bishops' courts, and the bishops had to bear the blame for any delays or extractions. To trace the anomaly of this procedure, we have to go very far back in history. Originally, Saxon laws regarded the family as a unit and did not in any consequence recognise the right of the individual to dispose his possessions by will after death. The right was derived by Roman law, where... Not quite what you were expecting, really, was it? Yeah, Pre-Reformation England. That's a tome of a book. If you've got nothing to do and you can't sleep, that'll put you to sleep. I haven't read that one, by the way, but I got it because I love the title. And then, well, anyway. Meanwhile, another exciting book on the list of books here: England Under the Stuarts. This is from Military College of Science Central Library. I don't know where that is. Last time this was taken out, it was in July 1975. First time it was taken out was in November 1951. And this was first published, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just check that for you. 1925. 1925. Blimey. And so what is this called? A History of England Under the Stuarts. In the first 3 years of James English's rule, each of the great problems of the coming century took an irrevocable turn. Against Puritans and against Parliament, the king... Anyway, it goes on like that. The nice thing about this book... in the margin, every paragraph has a little précis about the paragraph, so you don't have to read them, but just read the précis. Every one, look at that. Every one has got in the margins. It's sort of, so if it gets a bit bogged down, you go, oh, I can't be bothered to read. What's this about? So it'll say that this one here, side by side with the controversy of the impositions, a friendly negotiation was being conducted to put the whole financial system on a new footing. On and on, very dry language. Instead, you just go over there and go, what's that about? Oh, the Great Contract of 1610. Next paragraph. Breach with Parliament and dissolution of 1610 to 11. The next paragraph, retirement of Shakespeare 1611, and on and on. You've read the book in about 10 minutes and it's all done. Whether it makes any sense, of course, is neither here nor there. Anyway, to answer your question, Belle, thank you. Thank you. You love the tales of old Sussex. I will record some more of those, I promise. They will be peppering along. They're great. They're great for me because when it's raining and I can't get out, I think, oh, hang on, let's do another story, which is fantastic. Robert Crosser said, how are we doing? Oh, we've done 10 minutes over time. I'll wrap it up in a second. David Henry says, Americans don't always get the UK. I heard them say things like, oh, Oxford had a River Thames too, and Windsor's nice, but why did they build it so close to Heathrow Airport? Yeah, Windsor's very nice, but they built the castle too close to, I don't know what accent that is, to the airport. Julia says, I've been only getting half the comments. Oh, I'm so sorry. Richard says that happens to me quite often. Shirley says comments are playing up. Well, that's why I read them out. So if you can't see them, at least you hear some of them. Pam Gill says, hello to Nikki, get well soon. Henry says, sounds great. I'll take you to Flash, the highest village in the UK, never visited by tourists. Flash. Woo! Leader of the universe. Yes, let's do that. Make it a date. Henry, Kevin, we're going to do it. We're going up to the Peak District. It's going to be lovely. Lynn Lou says, you've made a lovely sort of club. Thank you so much. We all work hard. To be honest with you, I don't go in enough and do enough. I'm very busy with the videos, and then there's this, and then I spend a bit of time reading and lighting the Essie. I spend most of my life lighting the Essie and keeping the Essie going at the moment, but that's another story. Dean says, can anyone see my comments? No, can't see a word. I didn't even know you typed anything, Dean. It's only thanks to a little bit of, premonition that I managed to even see that. Julia says, steady on Crosser, birds of a feather and all that. Not quite sure what he said there, whether he made... I didn't see that comment from Crosser. Me too, and when the missus... Oh, right, okay, that's obviously not for me. John Russell says, good evening. Good evening, John. Thank you for passing by. Cushty Phil says, Leighton Quoit is a prehistoric site not far from the A30 in Cornwall. Oh, well, might have to stop. I've got to stop somewhere to have visit the little boys' room. Maybe there's a quoit there that I could use. That would be quite useful. Send me the details if you get a chance, Cushty. Robert says, make sure he's in his tweed jacket. Belle McKenna says, thank you. We all look forward to these. Thank you, Belle. You're a lovely lady. Mark Selwood says, you texted me about Leighton quite ages ago, didn't you? Mark, oh yes. Australian, says Robert. What? The accent. Yes, I think it went. Ian McLaughlin, hello, Ian. Lovely to see you. Henry says, sounds great. Let me know when you're coming up north. We've got this. I think it's the first week in July, Henry. First week at the Tuesday, whatever that is, first week in July, up until we come back on the Saturday. So if you're free the Wednesday, Thursday, or the Friday, they would probably be the best days, I would imagine. Unfortunately, Papplewick Pumping Station, according to the leaflet you gave me, Kevin, is open the following week, not the week we're going. But I booked the rooms now. Andy Joy says, love that picture of you and Julia that's behind you. Oh, this, yes, I love it. I love it. Julia looking so happy, so happy. She's such a lovely lady. I do love Julia. She's so lovely. She's such a good, fun person. And then there's that bald twit in the background there. I don't know who he is, but it's such a lovely picture, and it's joyous. And I can't remember. Julia obviously did a selfie and sent it to me, and I had two of these done. I sent one to Julia, and she's got it up on her wall, and I got one up on ours. We're kindred spirits now, you know, kindred spirits. Even though she's got a little Eric on her way, which is nice. A very good night to you. Take care, says Dean. Did see that comment as well. Richard says, we're well into extra time. Yes, I'm going to go now because people to see. I was just hiding in here in case the police come knocking on my door. That's really what it was. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, going to draw today's show. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit of a laugh. It's always lovely to this wonderful club that we've all managed to do. We've got Henrietta Hen here, who is pretty much near demolished. So I'm going to go and eat the rest of that with a nice cup of coffee. I've got to sort out the thumbnail and the description for tomorrow's video. Billy and I visit the East Somerset Railway. Quaint little railway. Lovely. Nice little video. Hope you enjoy it. That's in tomorrow's show. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. It's so nice to see you. Aim to be back here next Wednesday. I don't know if Steve Pilfold is still watching. By the way, Steve, fix the power thing you mentioned. Works a treat, doesn't it? Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's very great. You may wonder why it's a beach hut. The old podcast, I used to do it in a beach hut, and it's just a bit of bright fun, isn't it? Anyway, that photo is almost a year old. Oh, I know, Julia, I know. We had such a laugh, didn't we? We had such a laugh. Henry says, I think I'm in the south the first half of that week, coming back to Leek on Wednesday. Sort it out nearer the time. Great. Well, it'll be lovely. It'll be fantastic to see you. Robert says, it's a lovely picture. I remember the video. Dave says, really enjoyed the show. Super show tonight, says Mark Selwood. They rung me after a statement, says Richard Suggan. Oh, right, okay. Pam Gill says, good night. Good night, take care. Good night, great show. Thanks very much to everybody. It's very nice. Everyone's saying good night. Good. Brilliant. All right, then, take care, one and all. It's been lovely to see you, and I will catch up with you hopefully next week. If it's not next week, I'll leave a message in the on the Facebook webpage. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.